What I think is more important than getting speed is
You probably clicked on this video because you want to learn how to do an air reverse. You might have tried a couple, maybe one or two here and there. One of 50 things might have gone wrong. You could have even you hit the lip, tried to do it, your board flies away. You hit the lip, you fell back. You might have even landed out in the flats. You could have even hurt yourself. You could have spun too much. Your board might have flipped. You might have landed on your fins. Anything could have happened, and those things are not nice. Um, but my name's Harry, and I run Surf Precision Academy, and we focus on more so on helping surfers with their progressive surfing game, like airs and nose picks and air reverses and things like that. On our academy, we have another course that's going to come out very soon. We'll do a front side pop shove it course or a varial course, and we'll do a backside varial course. So that's basically those ones that Chipper Wilson does, where he switches foot in the air and lands backwards and then rides out. We'll get to this tutorial on how to start landing air reverses, and we'll try to figure out what's wrong for you. So
essentially
essentially, with an air reverse, on
on
the
the
front,
front side. We'll go through a backside example in a second. However, with the front side, let's move myself down here. And I'll make myself a little bit small here. You should know that you need speed. It's pretty obvious that you need inertia to launch into the air, and you need to hit the lip at the point where it's almost breaking. These are things that are pretty basic, and we're just going to skip through those. What I think is more important than getting speed is lining up and eyeing off the section early on, and then also loading up your coil. So um, this video here, we'll go through just what's important. So you can see this is Chipper Wilson. He's got plenty of speed already. He knows that he's on what's this, like a pretty solid wave. Like it's not a big wave, but it's a solid wave to do airs on for sure. You can definitely break your ankle doing an air on a wave like this. He knows he's got enough speed. What he knows is that if he can set up as much time before hitting the lip as possible, he can give himself as much time to load up and to line up the get the right line and line it up properly to be able to hit the lip at the perfect time and on the perfect angle, then he's going to have the most chances of success with doing the air. So you can see here, he's eyed off his section really early on, like he's already seen it. He's already got his eye really peeled on this section down the line here. You can see where his head is. You can see that as he sees the section, he starts to draw a line out to the beach a little bit to then take what we call a mid-face bottom turn. You can see he's halfway across the wave and he starts to do his bottom turn. Now, when we talk mid-face, bottom turns are traditionally off the bottom of the wave. This is almost a full bottom turn, but it's a lot shallower, than you would normally do. If you go, the more shallow on your bottom turn you go, the more difficult it is to pop up and land on the top of the
the
wave.
wave. If he was to draw the bottom turn here, he would land, he would project a lot further out to the beach, and he would actually land further in front of the wave into the flats. So the deeper you go, the sort of more vertical your projection is. Not vertical, but more high your projection is instead of out. Um, so he's taken a pretty deep bottom turn because he knows this section has a lot of curl to it. And so he wants to be able to project up and then land on top of the lip, which breaks his fall, and then he's able to slide down the face and ride out and continue surfing. Now, the next part is you need to, once you buy the section and you're going to go into that bottom turn, you want to compress down low, really low. You can see here his legs are very bent, they're 90 degrees. His face is nearly touching the wave's face. That's how committed he gets to doing a strong bottom turn and really thrusting out of that. So he's still eyeing that section as well. Sorry for my wonky lines. And he's also touching the wave's face. Now, touching the wave's face is really important to drawing a good apex. And then as he goes and nearly hits the lip, you can see he starts to extend that front knee, and that gets his weight on his back foot. He's lifting his arms up, and then obviously he waits for the right moment to leave the lip, and then kicks the tail, lifts his arms up, kicks the tail, and he projects up and out towards the beach. Lifts his front knee up to his chest, so his front knee is up here, and then he goes for the grab, Now, the grab's not essential, but it does help you stay over your board. And it also looks a lot more controlled than if you didn't do a grab. So I recommend going for these grabs as you learn. However, at some students that have issues with staying over their board, I actually tell them to not go for the grab, because if they can land it without a grab, it means that they don't need the grab for control purposes. They just do the grabs for style, which I think initially is what the grabs were for. If you can land without grabs, it's a really good sign that you definitely can land it with grabs, and it looks a lot more stylish. So, and you can also tell when someone doesn't have much experience doing airs is when you can tell that they're sort of relying on the grab. You can tell they're sort of leaning into the grab a lot more and relying on it for stability. I want you to start to learn how to do it without having to grab the rail. So obviously, as you rotate around, you want to be looking at your landing and you want to stay low to the board. So he's looking down to his landing and he stays very low to his surfboard throughout the maneuver. And he also stays over his outside rail here. So you can see that all his weight is forward over his outside rail. That's really important. As he comes down, he lets go of the grab before he hits the water, and that allows his body to extend and then absorb the impact, compress really low, his butt nearly touching the board, puts his weight on his back foot so that he can dig those fins in and ride out. And that's pretty much a quick tutorial. However, we're going to go look at the backside arrow burst now and just give you more of a backstory as to sort of how these maneuvers link together and what differs with the backside arrow burst. Now, some people actually have told me they find it easier to do backside arrow burst. Personally, I don't. I find it easy to do on my forehand. However, we'll look at this video from Jack Freestone. You can see he knows he's got enough speed here already. He's just lining it up. You can see this whole distance, he's just lining up the right line to draw off the bottom to actually hit the lip properly and to time the section. That is really, really important. It's more important than getting a ton of speed. And then as you hit that section, it's the same exact thing as the last with the last clip with the front side arrow burst. However, you want to rotate obviously the other direction. This back arm needs to come back here and really focus on pushing back behind you in this rotation. And then you want to start to look back here at your rotation and where you're going to go or where your body's going to go. And you can also see he's really pressing onto that back foot to really kick that tail out. And he's not so much kicking the tail out like a fin bust or a blow tail. He's more sort of jumping off of his back foot. I know it sounds simple, very simple, but he's sort of jumping off of it. And that's why before the maneuver, you want to really load up and compress low like this right here. This is how you want to be, because you can see his back leg's really loaded up. His front leg is bent almost more than 90 degrees, so that when you get to this section and you want to jump off, you can see he's really released that coil and he's really pushing. He's pushing up and out to the beach. And then he rotates his body, and then you can see as he gets halfway or he gets up into the air, his next focus is lifting that front knee up to the chest. You can see that front knee is really lifted just here. His back leg's now tucking back up again, and then his eyes are starting to look back this direction, which is the direction that he's traveling in the air. You can see he's moving across the beach, and you can see he continues to keep his back straight. His arm is up. It's really important. We'll go through that in the actual course on our academy. And then also the other thing we go through on our course is a keyword that helps you to stay over your board on your backside arrow verses. And that is something to do with sort of where you're looking, which is this way. But the keyword is something that allows you to actually get into this position and to stay over your board and land over your toes. And then you compress your legs and ride out of it. One thing I want to mention just as an overarching thing, and I'll do a few of these videos just because there's different aspects of air reverses that you can go into to explain. I can focus more on rotating your body. I can focus more on your compression and loading up your coil. I can focus more on timing, things like that, projection, direction. There's a whole lot of stuff. We go through a very in-depth online course on our academy. When you sign up, there is a library of air courses. There's front side, backside, nose peak reverse, frontside, backside air reverse, which will go into a lot more detail than this clip. And then you've also got, we'll do one for laybacks. That's coming soon, a layback snap. Just the list keeps going on. The good thing about the academy is that you've got online forums there. They all have access to the same courses. Everyone can write questions for, say, the backside air reverse question forum. And everyone helps each other out, gives each other tips, as well as me and the coaches also jump in there and give you tips as well. When you're in the academy too, it's just like a big online platform. And so essentially what you can do is email us directly, or there's a message, like a live message chat. You can message in that your questions and we'll get back to you as soon as we can to answer your questions on what you're struggling with. And you can also send through your clips to us and we'll give you a review, send them back with some tips.
We do have one-off online video analysis where you send through up to 5 videos, and we'll send back a very detailed video, more so like this, but more specific, tailored to you and personalized to you, exactly the things that you need to work on. And then we'll let you go on your merry way, and then you can start stomping airs or stomp that maneuver that you're trying to do. To be sort of coached by us, you don't have to be a super good surfer. We focus on intermediate surfers, and we're bringing into to more of an advanced level, because we believe you don't have to be a super advanced surfer to actually start landing airs or learning them. We want the sort of average surfer to be able to have access to the knowledge they need to get to the level that they want, instead of just looking at that guy who can do airs and then go, oh, I wish I could do that. But then they keep it to themselves, because surfing, if you admit that you want to sort of do airs and stuff when you're an intermediate surfer, you'll just get laughed at. But that's why we've created the academy, because it creates a safe space where everyone's motivated to improve on something that they want to learn. And we're sort of bringing that supportive community and some supportive sort of culture back to surfing. Skateboarding is really good. Skateboarding people are super collaborative. Everyone's trying to land a big trick, but surfing, it's kind of, if you want to be a good surfer or you're trying to do something cool, sort of like, it's sort of too try hard. Surfing's a very laid back sort of sport. It's also a very selfish sport, but that's for another video. But yeah, so the link will be on our profile, and you can also head through to sort of our website and see what we have. Otherwise, keep clicking through our videos. I'm pretty sure these tutorials are pretty valuable as well. So hope you guys got some value out of this, and we'll see you in the next video.